Whipping up all of your favorite recipes.
Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food.
Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
What's up, you guys? It's your boy SimplyFoodByTy, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a delicious sweet pastry crust, which I like to use anytime I'm making a tart of any kind. So let's get right on into the video. So to a stand mixer, you're going to add in 1 full cup of unsalted butter. So that's about 2 sticks of unsalted butter. You want to get that nice and creamy, nice and smooth. By letting it be at room temperature, it'll just make it a whole heck of a lot easier for you. Now, once you get that nice and smooth, we're going to go on ahead and start adding in the sugar. You're going to add in 2 1/4 cups of white granulated sugar, and you just want to do that gradually just so that you can really make sure that that sugar is getting fully incorporated. Also, make sure that you are scraping down the sides because, you know, sometimes the butter just likes to get stuck to the side and then, you know, things aren't getting properly mixed in. So once you've gotten the sugar and the butter fully incorporated and it's nice and silky and smooth, we're going to go on ahead and start adding in the eggs, which we're going to add in 2 large eggs. Now, just as a heads up, for this particular recipe, I am using it in an 11-inch pan. So I would honestly say if you guys are going to be making this in a standard size 7 or 9-inch tart pan, I would suggest you reduce this recipe by half, okay? Just know that the recipe that I'm telling you now is for an 11-inch. So if you're going to use one smaller than 9 inches, just reduce this recipe by half. So now that we got our 2 large eggs nicely mixed in, now we're going to start to gradually add in our flour and our salt that we sifted through and we're mixing in. So we're adding in 3 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And you just want to make sure that you're gradually adding that in, but also making sure that your paddle or whatever it is that you're mixing it with isn't on too high, because we don't want to activate too much gluten in this. You want to make sure that this it's kind of going to be almost like a shortbread pastry crust, and I'm telling you, it's one of my absolute favorites to use anytime I'm making like a lemon curd tart or just like a basic fruit tart. You know, you can use this particular tart and fill it with whatever you guys want. I'll be doing one for a more savory one at a later time, but this is definitely the one that you want to use for any and all of your sweet pastry tarts. So now that we've pretty much gotten all of the flour in, once you can see that it's nice and incorporated and there isn't any loose flour, just go on ahead and turn off the mixer, do the rest by hand, scrape down the sides, because again, you really want to make sure that you aren't going to overwork this. I would get yourself, 2 very wide pieces of cling film, saran wrap, whatever you want to call it, Chad. And then you're going to dump all of your dough directly onto that. Now, I will say the best thing about this dough is almost kind of the same thing as my pie crust dough, is that it seems like it's a big crumbly mess, but the second you put or apply some sort of warmth to it, it just immediately molds together, okay? So don't be too afraid if it seems like it's a bit crumbly. As long as you can kind of form it in your hand and it holds its shape, then you're good to go. And don't be afraid to use your saran wrap to really get it molded. See how easily and quickly that just like completely came together? And that was just a few moments of just pressing it together. If I were you, I would suggest that you guys get it in the shape that you want it to start off with. It just makes your life a lot easier, okay? You're gonna put that in the fridge for an hour. As it gets nice and cold, it'll make your life a lot easier when we come up on this next step. I'm gonna be spraying down my 11-inch tart pan with Pam. I use the one with the baking flour, okay? It is the best thing to use with any type of baking food at all. So now that we've done that, and now that our dough has been chilled in the fridge for an hour, now we're just going to pretty much mold it into the shape of the tart pan. I mean, it's just that simple. You don't have to roll it out. You don't have to do any of that stuff. That's the best thing about this dough, is that it's very forgiving. And honestly, the only thing that I would say is that you want to move relatively quickly. And the reason why I say that is because, remember, this dough is filled with a lot of butter. So of course, the more your hands are working on the dough, the more warmth it's going to get. And then it's going to become a little bit goopy, and you don't want that. So I would suggest, just moving kind of quickly and just make your way around the edges. Once you get the bottom of it nice and flat, I would just take your finger and press around the base of the dish itself, just so that you can make sure things are nice and level. And then, if you have some pieces hanging off the top, you can just take the back of a butter knife and just run it right across the top. But it's super, super, super easy, okay? So now that we've gotten that worked into the shell nicely, we're going to put a piece of, what is this paper called? I don't know why I always forget what this, I don't know what that paper's called, child. I done forgot what it's called. Parchment paper. Lord Jesus. Put a piece of parchment paper in there. Fill it up with some baking weights. You're going to put that in the fridge for an hour so that it can get nice and set, so that it doesn't break when we put it in the oven. Now you want to go on ahead and have your oven preheated at 400 degrees, okay? So after you've put that in the fridge, like I said, for that hour, we are going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees, and you're going to leave that in there for 8 minutes, okay? After the 8 minutes, you're going to remove all of the baking beads out, and then you're going to take a simple egg wash, like what I'm doing right now, which is simply 1 egg and a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream, and you're going to brush down your entire pastry tart. At this point, it's not fully cooked, so just be very gentle. While you're doing this, you want to go on ahead and reduce the temperature in your oven to 350, okay? So remember, it was baking in the oven at 400 degrees for 8 minutes. Then you took it out, you removed the baking weights. Now we're brushing it down with the egg wash. At this point, you will reduce the temperature to 350. Now that we've poked some holes in it, put it back in the oven at 350 for 15 to 20 minutes, and baby, you got yourself a golden, buttery, delicious sweet pastry crust. Look, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope y'all babies come back. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all babies stay cute and take care. Bye, guys. Let that thing cool before you cut it.
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food by TY.